What's up, guys? Today I'm going to teach you how to kickflip on a skateboard. I don't know what else you would kickflip on besides a skateboard. It might be a trick that ninjas do or something like that, but this is about skateboarding. This is actually a really easy trick, and you can learn this a lot quicker than you think. Learning how to kickflip is all about timing and muscle memory. The one thing that's going to help more than anything in preparing you to learn how to kickflip is to learn how to ollie. Learn how to ollie really good, because it's basically the same motion. The only difference is instead of dragging your foot straight up the board, you're dragging it off to the side and flicking the side of the board. Besides that, it's the exact same thing. You really need to get to the point where you can ollie over your friend's skateboard or something that size before you learn how to kickflip, because it's going to take a little while for the board to flip in the air. So you're going to have to learn how to get an ollie at least high enough that you could get over something small. Okay, so now you're ready to start doing kickflips. The foot position is very important for a kickflip. Your back foot's going to stay in the same position that you learned how to ollie. So somewhere in the middle of the tail, just whatever feels comfortable to you. Now your front foot is going to change a little bit. Instead of having your front foot right in the middle of the board, like you would with an ollie, you're going to move it just slightly back towards the heel side. This is really going to help you when you first learn how to do kickflips. After you get a little bit better at kickflips, you can keep it kind of in the middle of the board, just point it a little bit. But when you're first learning, put it close to the edge. It's just going to be easier to get your foot out of the way. Also, keep your foot at an angle. You can experiment with this a little bit, but you don't want it completely perpendicular with the board, and you don't want it completely parallel with the board. If you're having trouble with the basic motion of the kickflip, I'm going to give you some practice steps. Because people are stubborn, and if you're on the internet looking up how to kickflip, I'm sure you've been out there trying to kickflip for a while. So before you start worrying about landing on the board, the first step is actually getting the board to flip. So if you're having trouble with that basic motion of the kickflip, I'm going to give you some practice steps. Let's face it, people are stubborn. If you're looking on the internet to learn how to kickflip, you've probably tried to kickflip quite a few times. So here's one of the best tips I learned from my friend Aaron Cairo. You stand on the back of the board and practice dragging your front foot up and off to the side. You're going to practice actually flicking with your ankle, because it's not really just a kick, it's a slide and a flick. Then, after you have that drilled into your muscle memory, I want you to ollie and do a kickflip, but just land your front foot. Now, this is actually a trick that you catch with your back foot. So now, try to land it with just your back foot. Now don't do this too many times, because it will get drilled in your muscle memory. The biggest problem that people have with kickflips is that they can land one foot, but not both. So you don't want to get that drilled in your muscle memory. You see, landing with one foot and not committing with both is a defense mechanism that our body is implementing to protect us. Skateboarding is just as mental as it is physical. Our minds are like a very powerful computer that's processing so much information all at once. We couldn't even comprehend how much information our brain is processing subconsciously. So when you're learning how to skateboard, you have to unlearn some of the defense mechanisms that our body implements in everyday life to protect us. Like catching yourself with that foot. Also, when you're falling, your mind will tell you to catch yourself with your straight arm. Don't do that when you're skateboarding, because you're moving very fast sideways. If you land on your straight arm, you will snap your arm. But if you were just walking, that would be helpful. So our mind didn't really develop around skateboarding. So we have these defense mechanisms that we have to unlearn, just so we can land tricks. So after you've got those practice steps down, consciously think about landing on the board with both feet every time. You have to commit. You may have to go listen to some inspirational speaker or something just to get inspired. Go watch a skateboarding video, something like that. You have to have the motivation to put both feet on the board and commit. So every time you try to kickflip, even if the board lands upside down, try to land both feet on the board. You will teach your mind to start landing kickflips. That's how you teach yourself to start landing kickflips. It's okay if you don't land it the first day. It's okay if you don't land it the first week. There have been studies by prestigious colleges that show that while we sleep, our brain is actually processing everything we did that day and everything we failed at that day, and it's actually making us better. So if you do kickflips every day and you sleep every night, your brain is making you better at kickflips. You don't have to know all the physics involved with how the board flips or the wind resistance. You just have to go out there and do kickflips every day, and your brain is going to make you better at skateboarding while you sleep. Okay, so we got the flick. The board is flipping completely now. Next, we have to think about landing on the board and rolling away. Okay, so when you flick straight out and behind you, don't flick down. If you flick straight down, your foot's gonna go straight to the ground and you're not gonna be able to land on the board. So after you flick the board, consciously think about keeping your feet over the bolts, and not just your feet. Keep your knees and your hips and your shoulders aligned as well. If you're turning your shoulders to the side, you're turning your whole body to the side. It's gonna be a lot easier to take your foot off the board. Keep your whole body straight, aligned with the board, have good posture. It's gonna be a lot easier to learn a kickflip that way. So you're gonna wanna flick the board hard enough that it flips all the way around, and then it hits your back foot. Your back foot is what actually stops the board from spinning. So some tricks you catch with your front foot, like 3 flips, and some tricks you catch with your back foot, like kickflips. The reason that you catch this trick with your back foot is because your front foot is busy flicking the board. It's gonna flick it hard enough that it actually hits the back foot and stops flipping. So as long as both of your feet are over the bolts, when you feel that board hit your back foot, you just push your feet down to the ground and roll away. So there you go, that's how you do a kickflip. When you're first learning these, you might not want to do it at the skate park because people might make fun of you. People are not always nice to everybody all the time. So do them in your garage or your driveway, do them off the driveway into the grass. It's a little bit easier to learn tricks when you're doing it into grass because the board's not gonna like fly out from under you and you're not gonna fall backwards. But it is a little bit easier to break your board if you're doing tricks into grass because you can land right in the middle of the board without it shooting out from under you, and it might be easier to snap your board. So just make sure you're landing over the bolts, especially if you're doing the tricks into grass. I think this trick is a lot easier rolling, but if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can put the board in a crack and just try it stationary. So there you go, guys. That's how you kickflip on a skateboard. It's a pretty easy trick. I believe all you guys can learn how to kickflip. You just gotta believe in yourself. And if you don't learn it the first day, sleep on it. Your brain's gonna make you better at skateboarding overnight. If this video helped you out at all, please let me know by liking the video. If there's another trick that you want a how-to video on, let me know in the comment section below. Definitely subscribe for more videos, and thanks for watching.